Good evening. So I am home from work. Today was just a normal day. None of that getting off at 2 o'clock in the morning nonsense. And so I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out what to do about the letters for the cemetery sign. I've been looking around online, trying out different fonts, figuring out which ones I like, and kind of been trying to like narrow them down to see which one I like. And right now I think I'm leaning towards this one. It kind of looks familiar and I don't want to accidentally steal the font of something else. And it kind of looks familiar, but I can't quite figure it out. I liked these also, but these I think would just be way too hard to try and like cut so thin down here. And I'd probably just be asking for them to break. So, I don't know, I'm really kind of leaning towards the top one here. Alright, so just as a quick test, I printed out the D and the E using that font. I kind of just want to get an idea of how it would look here on the sign. I mean, it fits. It seems kind of thin though, like it might not take up the entire thing. So maybe I need to make them a little bit wider or something. Also, for those of you who just recently started watching me, hi! My cemetery's name is Deadwood Cemetery. Hopefully, I'm hoping to make some like dead trees to go throughout as you're walking through to kind of like, that's where like the deadwood comes from, like you're walking through some dead woods. And for the sign, obviously, like I just said, it'll say Deadwood Cemetery across it, but I want to have like a bat in the middle to be kind of like the separator between the two words. Because if you haven't noticed, bats are kind of my thing. They're all over my arm, they're all over my chest, there's a bat in the car, there's like bats on my wall, you know, it's they're everywhere. So, I changed my mind. I went with one of the other fancier looking fonts. I tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit wider so I can easily cut it. But here's how the rough draft looks. There we go. I think that looks pretty cool. The cemetery is a little bit crowded, but that's mainly because I just kind of had to cut around the letters, so there's a bunch of extra white space. So theoretically, once I actually cut these out of the wood, I can like put them a little bit, I can space them a little bit better to make it a little bit more even. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I might make the bat a little bit bigger because he's kind of small compared to everything else. Might need to make him a little bit taller so that his wings kind of extend past the edge just like the letters do. But yeah, so it's still relatively early in the night, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to cut some of these letters out. So to trace out and cut out the letters, I'm basically doing the same process that I do for every time I need to cut out letters. I'm just taping it to the material, which in this case is the scrap plywood. And I'll use an X-Acto knife to go through and carefully trace along the edges. And then once I have that outline cut out, I'll use a Sharpie to like to draw the edge. Then that way I can just use the jigsaw and cut it out. And this is going to be a very long and tedious process. So, probably not going to record the whole thing. Otherwise, this would be a very boring video. So, I will just see you guys in a little bit once I've made some headway. Alright, so about an hour and a half later, and I have them all traced out. I can take all this off. Yeah. There's also some on that piece over there that kind of can't see. Now I was going to go ahead and start cutting them out, but since that took a little longer than I thought it would, it is after 10:30, so maybe I should not run the saw out here so as to not make anybody mad. So I guess we'll work on that tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't work until, I don't know, whatever time, later on in the day, so I'll have the first part of the day free to cut these out and get them all attached on there. Fun times. And now I have a mess to clean up. It's the worst part of doing all this is the cleanup process. Oh, I can't get to the trash can back there. Whoops. Hello again. So it is actually the next morning. Last night was a weird night. I fell asleep at around like 11, shortly after I recorded that last clip. And then I woke up at like 2 in the morning. Couldn't fall back asleep for some reason until like 5. Fell back asleep, and then now it's the next day. And sadly I don't have any time to go out and cut any more of those letters. So yeah, just another example of my terrible sleep schedule. But in any case, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Or, well, actually, probably the next day, because today is tomorrow.